Good evening. It's day 2 of the Gaikwad saga. The Honorable MP himself has been grounded, not just by Air India, who refused to let them go on a plane of their airline, but also other private airlines like Indigo, like Vistara, and many others have come forward and stuck by their colleague in this particular case. They're closing ranks and they're very serious about not tolerating any such unruly behavior, whether it's coming from an errant MP like Mr. Gaikwad himself or anyone else for that matter. Now, very interesting developments today in this particular case. We're going to have a one-hour debate. I just want to highlight a couple of points before I introduce my panel. One, there are 2 FIRs against this particular gentleman. One is for delaying a flight for over 40 minutes. The other is for physical assault. Immediately after Mr. Gaikwad boasted about his crime, confessed it on national television, he went to see a movie. He also attended Parliament today. Remember, the Parliament is in session. Nobody objected. Not one member of Parliament, not the Lok Sabha Speaker, nobody from his party objected to him being there, despite the fact there are 2 FIRs against this honorable gentleman from Maharashtra. Also, the fact that Delhi police is giving him enough rope. And the fact is, they say they're seeking legal opinion, which is completely within their right, and they should, in fact, do that in every case. But the laxity shown, or the lack of will shown to take prompt action against somebody who's confessed to his crime on national television is appalling to many, to say the least. The Delhi police, in fact, offered to give him an escort to the IGI airport. This is, of course, before he knew he wouldn't be able to fly any airline because the airlines are completely blacklisted this gentleman. They even offered to investigate the counter report he was asked to file and invited to file, really, at the IGI airport by the Delhi police. He's dared the Delhi police openly to arrest him if they dare. He says Uddhav will take care of everything. Conspicuous by his silence is the man himself, party boss Mr. Uddhav, who hasn't said a word at all. All his party spokespersons, in the same breath, while condemning the violent nature of the act of Mr. Gaikwad, say, this is not a man who can be provoked so easily. Spokespersons, in the same breath, while condemning the violent nature of the act of Mr. Gaikwad, say, this is not a man who can be provoked so easily. There must be an investigation, impartial investigation in what happened, and they should also investigate whether there was any provocation by Mr. Sukumar whatsoever. Now, my only logic last night and tonight was this: no amount of provocation, if there was any, can justify violent attack or physical assault. That's the only thing the police need to focus on. As far as the polity is concerned, as far as our politicians are concerned, as far as the respected Speaker of the Lok Sabha is concerned, she says, and I quote her now, the incident happened outside Parliament, so she's trying to ascertain the facts and she can't really do much unless she can see a written complaint against the man. What about the Ethics Committee? What about the committee that acted against Bhagwant Mann when he was on his errant ways? There was action against him, wasn't there? Similar action, perhaps even more needed against Mr. Gaikwad. We'll get to the meat of the story in just a bit. Take a look at the story we filed here at NewsX.
This is what happened on tape.
कौन जाके बोलेगा बुला बुला सर से ऐसे बुलाओ उमेश टांग के
You are a role model, no? हम कैसे कोई सोच सकते हैं? हाँ, पार्लियामेंट कौन पहुंच सकते हैं? सर, कोई भी पहुंच सकता है पार्लियामेंट को। और ये छोटे आदमी के बोले कि आप अपना आप जेल में क्यों जाना चाहते हो? आप रख देंगे सर, मर्डर केस हो जाएगा ना सर? नहीं सर, बहुत मुश्किल से आए हैं आप इस स्टेज पे, बहुत मुश्किल से आपको ये जगह मिली है ना। You are a representative, you are a democratic leader. We have elected you. Please don't do anything silly for a stupid man. वो पागल है तो आप जैसे बात करें। वो अंदर क्यों आया? हाँ, तो आप ये बोलते ना, you should have get out.
But the man behind it doesn't care. He was watching a movie last night, was in the Parliament today.
मैं अभी पार्लियामेंट में जा रहा हूँ पार्टी की ओर से। मुझे अरेस्ट करे दिल्ली पुलिस। मेरा पार्टी उद्धव साहब देखेंगे। मैं नहीं मांगूंगा उनसे माफी, गलती उनका है।
So much condemnation, banned from flying, but nothing else.
What he has done has not only shamed him, but they shamed the entire collective of 770 MPs of the country. So what I would suggest is that the Lok Sabha should come ask him to give a personal explanation.
And according to the crime, he can be punished. But at the same time, to deny him that travel permanently by some of the companies, I don't think there is any such regulation. If there is any such regulation, then we have to also visit the consumer law.
Despite the assault on video, despite the open boast, despite the arrogance, the cops haven't arrested him. Uddhav hasn't even spoken out. And Netas allowed him in parliament.
There has been 2 days of massive outrage and across-the-board condemnation, but other than a flying ban by the airlines and an FIR, no one has lifted a finger against Shiv Sena MP Ravindra Gaikwad. The system lethargic in moving against the VVIP is not a surprise, but who will fight for a new India that is sick of this VVIP arrogance is something we are all waiting an answer for. Ashish Singh in Delhi for NewsX.
There you go. Joining us tonight to discuss this second 2 days in a row, Hitesh Jain, spokesperson of the BJP. He joins us from Mumbai. C. Rajshekharan is a lawyer and activist. He joins us from Chennai. Charan Singh Sapra, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Also joining us from Mumbai. Dr. Fawad Halim, leader of the CPIM, joins us from Kolkata. DP Tripathi, Honourable Member of Parliament from the NCP, joins us from Delhi. Thank you all. Geeta Lutha will be with us, senior lawyer as well. But I want to go across first to the man in the center of this all, this entire case, Mr. Sukumar, the Air India employee who was at the receiving end of Mr. Gaikwad's unruly behavior. When I say unruly, I'm being completely, it's an understatement. It was horrendous behavior, it was physical assault, and the pain, of course, only Mr. Sukumar knows. Mr. Sukumar, thank you for joining us on NewsX. Let me just get this out of the way. Now that not one, but 2 FIRs have been filed against this particular gentleman, do you expect him to be arrested? Do you think the police should get on it immediately? No more excuses.
What I can say, that is for the police and the management of the airline to do. I don't have to say anything in this matter.
Mr. Sukumar, I understand the position you're in. I can understand you being careful about what you say and what you're saying right now. But we ask you this very simply. You've been in the airline service for so long. You've had such a fulfilling career. If a common man or a citizen who was not a privileged member of parliament, say, would have done something of this sort, would he not be detained at the same time? Would he not be completely under the charge of airport marshals at least? Did this man get away just because he had the Neta tag right here?
If a person gets violent or abusive and keeps on continuing, then we call the police and they take care of everything.
Mr. Sukumar, the people within his political party, the Shiv Sena, are now suggesting, and I want you to address this really, that this is Air India's fault, that this is the poor quality of service at Air India. How would you respond to that?
I think as far as I am concerned, Air India gives a very good service. You know, there is a saying in Hindi, "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar." You know, that is the attitude we Indians have got.
Are you aware, Mr. Sukumar, that there's a counter-complaint that has been lodged with the Delhi police by this gentleman, Mr. Gaikwad? Are you concerned it could be used against you despite the fact that Mr. Gaikwad has confessed on tape that he hit you?
See, God is great. He will take care of everything. If somebody files a complaint which is a lie, it won't hold good.
Let me go back to the incident again. I'm sure it's very painful for you to even remember this. Your family must feel harassed as well. They must be hassled by all of this, these fast-moving developments, you being attacked physically. Are they holding up okay?
Yeah, family is reacting well and they are all supportive.
All right, my last question to you, Mr. Sukumar, before we let you go. Have you gotten the kind of support from the police, the authorities, the agencies that you should have gotten, given the fact you're the victim here? And do you think, in your heart of hearts, that justice will be served in your case? Are you hopeful at all?
Of course, police is not there, but my colleagues and my seniors have given me full support. I am happy with that.
Mr. Sukumar, more power to you. We, of course, in the media are with you, and thank you for speaking to us and headlining our show today on The Nation at 9. We do hope that this case is taken to its logical conclusion. So I hope my panel heard Mr. Sukumar. Thank you, Mr. Sukumar, for joining us. Hitesh Jain, let me come straight at you. As far as this case is concerned, one of the things everyone noticed immediately was the brazenness of Mr. Gaikwad, the complete defiance of Mr. Gaikwad, the absolute lack of outright condemnation by his own party bosses and his own party. He also used the phrase, we are Sena MPs, not BJP MPs. Hum to yehi karte hain. Now, exactly how do you counter this? There is a churn in India right now. The middle classes are churning. They don't want any more VIP arrogance here. Do you believe that such people who refuse to learn are going to end up on the wrong side of history?
First of all, no words are sufficient to condemn such obnoxious behavior. And there is everybody, I think, believes that exemplary punishment and action should be taken in this case, so that in future there should not be any repeat.
But that's not enough, Hitesh, is it?
Secondly,
everyone says in theory he should be punished. The speaker hasn't said a word. Politicians have been very careful, sir. I'm sorry, I'm hammering home the point here. But just lip service is not going to do anymore.
Let me complete the point. Second thing, we always speak about arrest. Person is arrested for 1 day, second day he released on bail. This is the case in which I am a lawyer by profession. You can file the charge sheet within 3 days and you can conclude the trial within 10 days. So what we have to show an action is to show that we can complete the trial within 15 and 20 days, convict such a person, and then show so that if a person is convicted, all the consequences will flow from the conviction, and a message will go loud and clear that such kind of behavior is not going to be tolerated.
Again, Hitesh
this kind of behavior of stunt or brazening out is something, it's high time we have to...
Well, I congratulate you on the tone you're using, sir, and of course what you're explaining...
Behavior of stunt or brazening out is something, it's high time we have to...
Well, I congratulate you on the tone you're using, sir, and of course what you're expressing is what we all feel right now. But look at the reality. DP Tripathi, Mr. Tripathi, I want to come to you. You're a senior parliamentarian. First off, before I ask you anything else, do you believe, honestly, sir, that the actions of this man, Honorable Mr. Gaikwad, brought disrepute to the House in Parliament? Is the yes or no answer, sir?
No, yes, definitely he has shamed all of us. This action is not merely condemnable, but he should get exemplary punishment. However, I have a point to raise, that the Air India employees and officers are not very sensitive and well behaved. I had raised this issue as chairman of a parliamentary committee of the Rajya Sabha 4 years ago, in presence of the MD of Air India. All MPs were present, all the members of that committee were present. The issue I raised was that Air India's attitude towards the differently abled persons is most horrendous.
No, I give you that point. Mr. Tripathi, respectfully.
I am not a member of parliament. No, let me tell you. Let me complete. Nobody just let me complete. After that meeting, nobody contacted me from Air India as to how to rectify it and why are you saying this? No one contacted me. That is far more...
But respectfully, Mr. Tripathi, you have to also admit, in this particular case, Mr. Gaikwad had no special disabilities or had no special circumstances. This was purely a power trip, an ego trip. He hit someone, and the excuse, Mr. Tripathi, is that the man was not good at his job. Can that be a justification in a physical assault case? Somebody is not good at their job, you beat them up.
No, not at all. I said he should be given exemplary punishment. See, that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it should be just condoned because of certain problems in Air India employees.
But again, I respect you again. Mr. Tripathi, I respect you.
I am a member of parliament who
I do not.
The line you're taking.
Fundamental issues. with the line which you're taking, sir. In the same breath, sir,
No, I'm
you're
not
saying
taking that line.
yes, Air India
No,
needs to
Please
come up on
don't
its
think
service. Understood. Understood, sir. My only point is...
What I am saying is simple. What I'm saying is simple. Please don't condone the misbehavior of Air India employees and officers because of the gross and condemnable misconduct of Mr. Gaikwad. That is
Again,
what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what my disagreement is here with you, Mr. Tripathi, but I want to get Geeta Luthra in at this moment here. Geeta Luthra, in the same breath, and it's not just Mr. Tripathi, there have been other politicians who said that the crux of the problem is the way Air India staffers treat them. I'm not just talking about MPs, but general citizens in general. Now, can that be an excuse? Again, I go back to my earlier point. You cannot, in this country, which is governed by a constitution, which has equal rights under the law. No, one second. Mr. Tripathi, I'll let you speak now. I want to go to Geeta Luthra. Can that be any justification? I'm not saying Mr. Tripathi is justifying it, but can that be a rationale at all? That you go for an impartial probe, look at the crux of the matter. How does it matter when the man confessed his crime on national television?
No, I can't see any explanation. However noxious any person may be, you can write a complaint about that person. You can, you can write to his officers. There are provisions for complaining about the conduct of a public officer. But you can't say that you are assaulting him and add insult to injury by saying, I've done it 25 times with a slipper. I mean, I am scandalized. We can even debate about this. I'm not saying anything. I haven't found Air India staff rude. I mean, that's the first part that I would want to address. But forget that. Even if someone is rude, you have to redress according to a civil principle of rule of law. You can't just take law into your own hands. And the man is trying to add insult to injury by saying with temerity that,
here's a politician that is involved. And you've seen Geeta Luthra, but you know this better than I do, that immediately when it comes to questions like these, politicians, with respect, due respect to all of them, of course, suddenly close ranks behind their own. They're shielding him. Look at the statements coming out of the Lok Sabha. The speaker, with due respect, said today, and I quote her now, she cannot take any suo motu action because whatever happened outside the parliament. Now, she might be technically right here, but if a member of parliament on our panel, like Mr. Tripathi, immediately says that, yes, this man brought disrepute to the House, where is the ethics committee? Where is the suo motu action there? Why no condemnation of this in parliament? Parliament is going on. If Bhagwant Mann can be asked to come before an ethics committee for a violation, for being errant, why not this gentleman Gaikwad? Why are politicians protecting their own?
No, that I absolutely agree, that even if it's something which is not a breach of privilege, it hasn't happened in parliament, so there may be but a condemnation of an incident that happens, and a vermin that we are shocked that something like this is happening, and the person is saying with temerity that he's assaulted the person 25 times. I'm sorry, that condemnation is very important.
And that is not vociferous enough, is my only point today.
Asked to give an explanation and then confronted with his statement.
That condemnation is not vociferous. So, even his own party hasn't said a word. Now I want to get Rajsekharan involved for a second here, because yesterday Rajsekharan at some point also said what Mr. Tripathi is saying today, that this must be investigated impartially and get to the root of the provocation, if any at all. Now there, Rajsekharan, I have no disagreement with you. But again, I take exception to the point when you say that, look, Air India is not well behaved, you should get to the bottom of the provocation, if at all. My only contention is this is an elected representative who first beats up a staffer, humiliates him, breaks his spectacles, a 62-year-old man we're talking about here, then goes on national television, boasts that yes, he did it, goes for a movie in a theatre, goes to parliament, nobody says anything. The police gives him a long rope, they say, please come to us, we'll give you an escort, we'll let you file a counter complaint. Now, if you say condemnation has to be there, why not more vociferous? Why not MPs, MLAs, elected representatives, his party bosses coming out and outrightly condemning this brutish behavior that we're seeing from an elected representative who claims to be a teacher?
Athar, again, I want to make a very important point. First and foremost, forget about this Gaikwad being a member of parliament. Whoever commits this offence,
that's exactly the point, Rajsekharan. He's a member of parliament, that's why he's getting away with it. That's why he's getting all the privileges and perks and the reprieves from the Delhi police.
Yes,
if he wasn't a parliamentarian, I can assure you he would have been in jail right now.
Yes, Athar, I don't deny the fact that he would have been in the jail. But the fact of the matter is, see, first you have to see this case on merits alone. See, I don't know what class ticket he was holding. Going by his statement, he had purchased a business class ticket. And when he entered the aircraft, there was no business class seat for them. So he had to protest. And I don't know how Mr. Sukumar reacted on the spot. We don't have proof for that. We don't have visuals for that to substantiate that Sukumar had misbehaved with him.
We have the visuals of him hitting Mr. Sukumar 25 times with the slippers, sir. What elected representative does that? Please answer this. What elected representative who's representing his constituents, who's representing parliament does that?
No, let me make my point in... No, see, I don't support anybody assaulting any staff or any human being. First, there should be human values for each other. That is different. But in this case, spur of the moment, what had provoked Gaikwad to attack or hit him with his chappals is all has to be investigated, and then only he has to be punished. But I would give the benefit of doubt to both of them, because what made them do all this in front of their crew? See, we have only one side version of Air India which says Gaikwad misbehaved, but we don't have the real version, what had really happened. It has to be investigated with an unbiased mindset.
Again, this is why I find this tough to wrap my head around this. Like I said yesterday, I'm no lawyer, Hitesh Jain. You are one. No, one second. I'm no lawyer. This is what I can't wrap my head around. This is what is so distressing to me right now. Again, if you go to a lawyer, this is what I can't wrap my head around. This is what is so distressing to me right now. Again, if you go by Mr. Rajsekharan's statement, Hitesh, he says the incident, the version has to be investigated impartially. No disagreement there. But what exactly are you investigating? You're investigating physical assault, something that the person in question has already confessed to. He's boasting about it for the past 48 hours to anyone who listened to him. There is taped evidence of what he did on the flight. There is taped confession on national media. What are you investigating? A version of the physical assault? He's conceding to the physical assault. What else do you need?
Athar, first of all, there is no excuse for using the force or beating the person, whether it is economy or business class. Now, let us assume whether it is an economy or a business class, a person would have known when a boarding card would have been issued. It is not a case that he came to the plane and he was
sidestepping my question.
Now, this incident happened after he landed over there.
I'm asking you,
so,
what are you investigating?
What version are we investigating?
You are investigating physical assault. Physical assault, evidence is on tape. What more needs to be investigated? You're evading my question, Hitesh. That's unlike you.
I think there are three things that should be investigated, not what happened exactly, but the statement of the person, that a statement of the victim, the evidences, so that you can make a watertight case against a person and make sure that there is no loophole that he can, that a person can get when a case is presented in the court. So from that perspective, I think we should not lose the seriousness. But having said that, the investigation in this case can be completed in 3 days.
Absolutely.
It cannot take more than 3 to 4 days to complete the entire
investigation. Tripathi, I'll come back to you right now. Mr. Tripathi, you mentioned, of course, there has to be an investigation and we need to know what exactly provoked it. You also blame, to an extent, the kind of service Air India provides, really. But should that really be the issue here? Shouldn't the larger issue be for all parliamentarians to represent their constituents, represent parliament a little better? I mean, this is nothing short of hooliganism, sir. And if this does does bring disrepute to the House, I believe the House itself should be the first entity to come out and say, go on record and say, the House will not tolerate members behaving badly.
Definitely, at the beginning of this discussion, I said that this behavior is condemnable and exemplary action should be taken against this. This is what I said. I am by no means justifying this kind of gross, horrendous misconduct by a member of parliament. Now it is for the Speaker of the Lok Sabha to take note of it. It is for the Ethics Committee of Parliament to take note of it.
Again,
there is no doubt about that.
We are approaching the weekend, Mr. Tripathi, and as a wizened, seasoned journalist,
Yes.
it is my fear that this story will get lost in the news cycle over the weekend and all the outrage will dissipate and nobody will talk about this till the next time some errant neta pulls some extremely bad behavior. Now, can you assure us today watching that the members of this August House will not let this go and will make sure this is discussed in Parliament, this is completely outrightly condemned by Parliament, and there will be steps taken to prevent this in the future? Can you assure that as a member of Parliament today, sir?
No, as a member of Parliament, how can I assure you? Because I am not the proper authority. It is for the Speaker, it is for the Chairman of the Ethics Committee. They are the proper authorities who will take decisions in this regard. We can only express our opinion to these relevant bodies.
Mr. Tripathi, what about the lack of political condemnation? What about the lack of any words from his own party? Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is a seasoned politician. Everyone expected him to take action immediately. We haven't heard anything from the Shiv Sena top leadership.
Please kindly ask the Shiv Sena leadership, not us.
I'm just getting a sense.
Always Shiv Sena, right from its inception.
You can't speak on behalf of the Shiv Sena.
No, that's what I'm saying. They have always believed in violence and misbehavior. They have always supported misconduct.
No, I can name of course other parties who are errant MPs and leaders have brought discipline to their parties.
It is not today.
I want to go to Geeta Luthra on the legal point here. Hitesh Jain, another lawyer, Geeta Luthra thinks this trial or this case really, the investigation can't go on for more than 2-3 days because all the evidence is there. It's taped evidence, taped confession, brazen defiant behavior by the man in question here. He says he's daring the Delhi police to arrest him. He says Uddhav Thackeray dekh lenge. He says hum Shiv Sena wale hain, hum yahi karte hain, hum BJP wale nahi hain. Now this brazenness has to perhaps go down in a manner with the police as well. He's daring the police, he's daring the public, he's daring the airlines. And I believe the only real action we've seen, Geeta Luthra, is from the airlines themselves. They are closing ranks, they're showing some gumption here. And I believe that's the only substantial news or development we've seen today.
So this backbone by the airlines seems very laudatory. I mean, one's happy to see that the airlines closing ranks and saying, okay, if somebody behaves like this, and look, this is a public servant because Air India is a public carrier, but the others are private. So they are in fact even more susceptible. Here you assault a person who's on public duty, it's a very serious misdemeanor. Now the question is, what is the offense under which a complaint has been made to the police, under what sections? And accordingly, after that, the man has admitted, but one is an extra legal, I mean, I'm just trying to be legalistic. So if it's an extra legal admission, the question is that you would need an admission in a civil proceeding. An extra legal admission may be used because it's a television admission. In a criminal proceeding, unless the police
we believe that's
get
prima
it
facie
from the
evidence
source
for the
and
police
the
to act
television,
on. But instead, look at what the police is doing, Geeta Luthra.
No,
I just want to get one question out of the way here and ask my panelists this. Anyone can come in on this.
So
there is something called, and I think Manish Tiwari mentioned this earlier in the day as well, the plenipotentiary powers of the Lok Sabha. They can use this and expel Mr. Gaikwad from the House, as it has done before. We all remember the cash for a vote scam there. This happened in that particular case. Mr. Tripathi, why can't plenipotentiary powers be used in this particular case at all? I'm sure they can be. It's just a matter of political will here.
Yes, yes, any kind of power can be used. That is for the Speaker of the Lok Sabha to decide and the House to decide.
All right, I believe that's a fair assessment.
I am not able to decide. I can only express my opinion.
The Speaker of the Lok Sabha, who's taken, you know, with all due respect to her, taken a rather conciliatory tone to this. I'm sure the Honourable Speaker will also realize there is a churn, not just in the middle class, not just in the media, but also across the country to end this VIP arrogance. This is clearly that, nothing else. I do thank you, Geeta Luthra, for joining us. Hitesh Jain and Siraj Sikran. Mr. Tripathi continues with us for the second one as well, and this is related. The second debate on the Nation at 9 is about, yet again, the right to recall and the debate around that. Cases like Mr. Gaikwad will always throw up questions, and we have a bunch of them tonight for our second panel. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a short break on the Nation at 9. When we come back, we discuss the right to recall. Stay with us.